Will there ever be another bond market king?
Now, if I said no, that's very presumptive. Probably not in the same way, because to be a king, you have to have a kingdom. I think the term partially went with the fact that PIMCO got to be $2 trillion. That was a kingdom. But PIMCO was, and
certainly relative to the size of the market.
For sure, and relative to size of, I was always so amazed. I couldn't convince myself. I'd walk on the weekends and I go, my God, I go, 2 trillion. I go, it's bigger than Bank of America, than Goldman Sachs, and JP Morgan. I said, what? I go, we're almost the biggest institution in the world, aside from some Japanese banks or whatever. I go, how did this happen? I go, but it did. And that was a kingdom. And so I would think you've got to have a kingdom, and I don't know if that's really possible anymore, other than indexed funds, of which, if you are the king, you're just a puppet, because the market's making a decision. So probably not. But there are still experts in the bond market. I especially like Scott Menard. I think
at Guggenheim.
Yeah, I think in the right environment 20 years ago, he could have been a bond king. He's got a great long-term perspective, but I don't think he's got the market or maybe the willingness to be a king. There are some that, remember that song, Who Would Want to Be King? Who would? Well, I guess I did, but in retrospect, it carries a certain burden. The crown is heavy.
He who wears the crown, yes.
You bet.
Are there any other pretenders, let's call them, to the throne that you admire, that you're watching, whose careers you think hold particular promise?
I don't think so. I don't necessarily have a prejudice against Jeff Gundlach, but I don't know. I think I guess I'd stick with Scott Menard.